time check is 6:58 p.m. here in Dubai, in UAE. So if you have friends, just let them. You can enjoy. You can invite them to join us. So the first candidate would be Jeanette because she was so brave to raise her hand right away.
I'm sorry, I didn't raise my hand. I just
What is that?
clicked the
Hi,
clap
that's
sign.
I.
Sorry, that's just a hi.
Okay. Okay. So we have two who already raised their hand. So we have Doreen and Gracelyn. So first, I think we will do first for Doreen. So 1 minute to go, and then we will start exactly at 7 p.m. If you want to be the candidate, make sure you need to turn on your camera so at least it's gonna be good as well for Mandy that she will see you what's your facial expression or gesture. So okay. Hello Mandy.
Hey, hi guys, how are you?
Okay, so I will just want to say if you're not the candidate or the examiner, please mute yourself. Okay. Go Mandy, we can start. And the
Okay,
first candidate would be Doreen.
Doreen. Okay, hey Doreen.
Hi, Mandy. Thank you for being with us.
Oh,
We
you're
appreciate
welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, I will start with the first questions, and here we go. Where are you from?
I am from the Philippines. I was born and raised there. I live in a coastal area where there is plenty of beaches, scenery, mountains, and it's a small village, but it is very peaceful. But here in Dubai, currently I live here in Dubai.
Okay, great. And do you work or study?
Since I left the university, I've earned a degree in nursing and I've been working as a nurse for the past 8 years now. And currently, I am working as a company nurse in one of the hotel here in Dubai. I am responsible for the health and well-being of our colleagues.
Good. And then so here's a similar question. What do you do?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, I am responsible for the health and well-being of our colleagues. At the same time, sometimes as well, I do attend guest needs, especially whenever they needed a first aid treatment. And especially whenever patient visited me in the clinic, I'm able to check their vital signs, assess them, and give them medications that will help them to make them feel better.
Good. And what transport do you use?
Currently, I am actually living in a provided company accommodation. So we also have a bus transportation provided by our hotel. So we use this, and often, I think every hour we have transportation from the accommodation to our workplace.
Good. And would you like to travel by bus in the future?
Definitely. I also love to travel by bus. However, if I have given a chance, I would like to travel with my personal car because it is more convenient and as well as also safety.
Great. And do you prefer the bus or metro to commute?
Generally speaking, it depends on on where I will go. If in case accessible in metro station, so I would rather take a metro where there's no traffic. Other than that, if in case there is no metro available, then I will also take bus.
Great. Okay. And so now we're going to move to part 2. And let's see, I think Jeff will put it on the screen. So once he puts the question on there, I'll give you a minute to prepare some notes. And then I will let you know when the minute is over, and then you'll have 2 minutes to speak. So talk about a place where lots of people come together. You should say, what is this place? When did you last go to such a place? Did you enjoy it? Why or why not? And you can start your minute now.
Thank you.
Okay. And that is your minute. And now you can have up to 2 minutes starting now.
I would like to talk about a place where many people came together. This is actually my favorite place to bring my family, especially my son. This is what we call the Albarsha Fun Park. There are plenty of people, families. We went there last month with my family and as well as with my best friend. I also invited them to be with us to enjoy this amazing place. That place actually has many things to offer. It has lots of trees, greens, and as well as it has a jogging track, a bicycle track. There's also, if you don't have your bicycle, you can also rent one. There's also a rental space there, and also there's a jogging track where my husband follows exercises because it's really a great place. They also have this it's a fun park, so there's children can also enjoy the big duck wherein they can ride on that, and my son and then my other nephews as well, they really did enjoy. So we said that it's worthwhile, even if it's humidity last month and it's so hot. But rather than that, it's really an amazing place to visit. And also, I think in the future, I also love to visit another parks here in Dubai. We have plenty here, and we also decided, my husband and I decided that we will be visiting another park located in their city center. It's also a great place there wherein there's a nearby beaches, so we can relax, enjoy. And I am actually with this sound. Am I finished? 2 minutes is up.
Yes, sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay. No, you did great. It was, I think on my end, I'm not at my normal home, so my internet is not as good, but I could understand like 99% of what you said.
I am just sorry because I thought this the timer is already up. It has been, so I am thinking to either to go on or to
No,
stop.
you're good. You're
Sorry
good.
for that.
That's okay. No, that's
Okay.
my fault. You're good.
Thank you.
You're good. Okay. And now we'll move on to part 3. Who did you go there with? Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me okay? Sounds weird in my ears.
Yeah.
You can hear me? Okay. Who did you go there
I
with?
went there with my I went there with my family, particularly with my husband, my father, and my son. And then I also invited my best friend with her family, her children, and also husband and her sister. So we really enjoyed our time there. We have fun. We also brought some food to just share together. And then as well as like give Thanksgiving, because it's been a while since we didn't see each other during lockdown. So when the lockdown has been lifted here in UAE, we decided to see each other, but also with precautionary measures.
Yeah, okay. And what kind of places do young people like to visit?
Generally speaking, I do think that young people nowadays loves to go to swimming pools or any or any places wherein they can relax, and also obstacle course in the beaches. So there are plenty of options, especially here in Dubai, where children can relax, have fun, and enjoy their holiday.
Okay. And why do people go to such places?
I do think that parents love to bring their children on those places. For example, this theme park here in somewhere here in Dubai. Uh, Parents wanted to give the best opportunity for their children to enjoy their childhood, and in addition to that as well, to socialize to other children, because here in Dubai mostly children just stay at home, they don't have any friends. So in that matter, whenever they go through any children activities or children fun park or theme park or any like this famous water sports in here, so they have this chance to enjoy themselves and also be active and able for them to be healthy, so
Great.
to avoid also screen time.
Yeah. And then do you like going to crowded places? Why or why not?
In the past, yes, I do like to go to the crowded places, especially for me to enjoy as well as to mingle and at the same time to meet new friends. However, today I am really scared to go to populated places because I'm afraid that I will get the COVID-19, and then also I can give typhoid. So I'm really avoiding such places right now for the safety of my family.
Good job. Okay. And that concludes the speaking portion of your test. Good job.
Thank you, Mandy.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
If anyone cannot hear me or if it's breaking up, just let me know and I can see if there's something I can fix on my end. Okay. So so Doreen, right? Is it Doreen or Doreen?
Doreen.
Doreen. Okay, perfect. All right. So I really, you have so much to say. I guess you're really willing to continue speaking. You're willing to continue expanding your answers. You don't just give a one sentence answer. You give additional information very easily. The only thing I could say there is to just slow down just a tiny bit. But if you slow down, they wouldn't be able to get so much information. But I think if you slow just a little, it won't feel like you're so nervous. I think this is the second time that we've talked, right? But yeah, even
I think I am really talking too fast.
That's
Whenever
okay.
I am.
That's okay. Is that your personality to talk fast? Is that your normal personality to talk fast? Oh,
I think I'm not so sure. Maybe if I am tense and I know that I am graded, or I know that something will happen, then I really talk fast because also it got me on my nerve. Other than that, maybe when I'm talking to my friends or to my family, I think I talk
at a normal rate. Yeah.
I thought
Yeah, but even though you were speaking quickly, you were very understandable. Your punctuation was almost 100% correct. I only have, I think, 5 words that we can go over at the end. But I love the different beginnings and transitions that you used. You said, since I've left, currently, as I mentioned, at the same time, definitely. Generally speaking, and you said in the past and however. So you continue speaking and you have very little effort. You're not reaching for any words. You're speaking very fluently. So I think you self-corrected once when you were talking about greenery in a park instead of greens.
Yes.
So yeah, greens is a common term that we use when we're talking about vegetables to eat, you know, how you're supposed to eat your greens, and greenery is at the park. You did some great vocabulary. You talked about assessing and vital signs, accommodation, transportation, and nowadays. And then when you were talking, you were comparing, contrasting, especially in that part 3 when it was a more generalized answer, how you talked about going to crowded places. You said in the past, yes, I do. So let's just make sure if you're going to say in the past, yes, I did enjoy going to crowded places. And then, however, now I do not. So that was a very small slip. Everything else was perfect. You also, when we were talking, there were 2 places where we used the word amazing twice. So we could think of amazing, a synonym for amazing. And you also used the word place when I talked about, I think it was part 2, lots of places that people come together. That's a hard word to think of synonyms for. So we could say location, place, spot, scenic spot or scenic place, something like that. And I liked how you talked about some children activities. So you could call them children's activities, or another way to call another term that
Mandy, yeah.
Can everyone hear me?
Hello, Mandy. Yes, we
There.
I'm
can hear
so
you.
sorry. I'm
but
so sorry.
I-
Did you lose me
so
because of
many
my
of your
internet?
words until after greens, yeah, vegetables.
Hello, Mandy.
Can you all hear me now?
Sit for Mandy. Mandy.
I'm so sorry. Oh. Can everyone hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you now. Okay.
We can keep trying. I'm sorry. What
No
part
worries.
did I lose you on, Doreen?
Green, about
Green.
talking about the greens.
Vegetable.
Oh wow, way back there. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see. I'll keep going. Hopefully it's in the recording. If you lose me again, just type something in there. It sounds really weird to me, but I'll keep going. So I was just talking about how you use the vocabulary of assess, transportation, vital signs, amazing. You talked about nowadays, and then you compared and you contrasted a lot when you were in the third part of the speaking. And I was talking about when you were talking about places, we use places twice, and we use the word amazing twice. So we can think of some synonyms for places. Another one would be location. For amazing, you could use the word fantastic, wonderful, excellent. And then you mentioned that at some places some locations they have children activities. So we just want to make sure they say children's activities, like an apostrophe S, or you can call them child-centered activities or child-friendly activities. And then I just wanted to, if you can hear me, I don't know if you can, is the words, there were just 5 words for pronunciation. One was colleagues. If you could work on colleagues with me. So can you say colleagues?
Yeah, colleagues.
Perfect.
Colleagues.
Colleagues. Another really hard one is particularly. Particularly. Yeah.
Particular.
Very good.
Particularly.
And you have
Particularly.
three more that the same issue just keeps coming up. It's when it's a T and a H. So month, worthwhile, and theme park. So you said month, like a T sound at the end of month,
Wow.
and theme park. Yeah. So some people you'll see stick their tongue out when they say the TH, and some people touch their tongue to the back of their teeth. So it's just your preference. Month, theme park, worthwhile. And I think that's everything. That's all
Thank
Yeah.
you, Mandy. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm sorry the recording is so bad. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Yeah, no problem.
Wow. Wow.
God bless
Thank you
you,
so much,
Mandy.
Doreen.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jeff.
so much, Doreen.
Thank you for
Like,
opportunity.
like, like what we said, I think we are very much prepared. So take your exam tomorrow. Sorry, Kristine. Okay, yes. So mute yourself. Hello, Mandy.
Hello.
Actually,
Yeah.
man.
I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
okay.
I'm so sorry. Okay. So who's the next person? I didn't hear the name. Is it
Kristine.
Kristine? Okay. Hi, Kristine.
Hello, Mandy.
Okay. And Jeff, if I start cutting out at any time, you can text me and say we can't hear you. So, okay. All right, Kristine, are you ready? Can you hear
I'll
me?
try. Yes.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. What sorts of foods do you like eating most, and why?
Nowadays, I like eating sweet foods like cakes, ice creams, chocolates, and I like sweets because they make me happy and they boost my um, emotions. And sometimes they lift my emotions most of the time. And I don't feel like I don't feel sweet, and it really fills my tummy.
Great. Okay. And who normally does the cooking in your home? If you didn't hear me, who normally does the cooking in your home? You cannot hear me again.
When I was young, my father was the one who was cooking. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I'll continue. When I was young, and most of the time he was left at home, and he did the chores and the cooking. And sometimes my mom will only cook during weekends because she had to work. But when we became adult, our father taught us how to cook. So nowadays we are the one who are cooking, and and um, especially my brother who loves cooking. So he's always the one assigned in the kitchen to cook.
Good. Okay. And do you watch cookery programs on your TV? Why or why not?
Yeah, nowadays, yes, I always watch cookery programs or cooking programs in the internet, especially in Facebook or YouTube, because I want to learn how to cook certain dishes that I don't know how to prepare. So I have to research for it, and I have to learn it by reading, by watching it first, and then I will try it together with the um, application, so I can follow the procedure.
Great. Okay. And in general, do you prefer eating out or eating at home, and why?
Um, Generally speaking, I love to eat at home because the meals are homemade and are cooked with love by my family or by myself, and I I cook it with our preference. It's not too salty, not greasy, or not even too sweet. So we can play with the flavor. And while eating out, sometimes we do eat outside. If there are special occasions that we need to celebrate and we have to eat special food, so we have to dine out. But most of the time, we love to eat at home.
Great. Okay. And the next part is going to be the speaking part 2. And I'll give you a minute to prepare after I read the question. So you can get a pencil or pen. All right. And describe a competition, TV, college, work, or sports competition that you took part in. You should say what kind of competition it was and how you found out about it, what you had to do, what the prizes were, and explain why you chose to take part in this competition. And you can have your minute now. Okay. And now you can have 2 minutes to tell me about your competition, and you can start now.
Okay. I would like to talk about certain competition that I attended. It was poster making contest. When we were in elementary and high school, we have a nutrition month. Almost every year, we celebrate nutrition month, and annually, our school will do competitions that we can do poster making contest. And me and my best friend are known to be uh, good at art, so we tend to join every competition, even if it's not nutrition month. So that time when I was in high school, we attended this competition, and it was this competition is on the spot, wherein you have to do a poster making and for 1 hour, and and I the prices were monetary the time, and it's not that big. It's only, I think, 100 pesos or 200 pesos for the winner for the first prize, and 100 for second prize, and the third would get 50 pesos. I choose to attend or join that competition because I want to express myself that time. So by through art or by um,
Okay.
making.
Okay, Kristine, I'm sorry to cut you off. That's okay. It was difficult. I understand. It's okay. I understand. That's a long time to remember too. Good job. Okay, we're going to move on to part 3, and you're going to do great. So, Kristine, should athletes be better role models?
Mm, indeed, athletes should be good role model, or they should be in their best personality, so that the children or the youngster will be encouraged to be good, and at the same times follow their footsteps if they want to be an athlete in the future, or they want to be good at sports in the future.
Great. Okay. And what benefits do international sporting events bring?
um, International events brings uh, camaraderie to uh, each athlete, and sometimes it brings, even the audience brings um, what's this um, audience also are being proud to their athletes, and at the same time, if you win the competition, um, your country will be uh, known in other parts of the country, and at the same time, I think the um, athletes are what's this hi- meet other athletes from other countries, as well as they can boost um, their confidence, and at the same time their talents in sports.
Good. Okay. And is it important for a country to win lots of medals?
I guess if the competition has monetary value for prizes or other, not only the name or the, if the prizes has other values, I guess yes, it's important to win, and at the same time also losing is not it doesn't mean that you're defeated, but at least you tried to win in that competition.
Great. And the money professional sportsmen earn is significantly higher than the earning of other professionals. So let me read that one more time. The money professional sportsmen earn is significantly higher than the earning of other professionals. Is that justified?
I guess what I have heard, athletes doesn't have enough salary, or they are not funded well. But if they became famous, some organizations or companies will get them for endorsement. So that's the time they had bigger salaries or incomes. That's the time they only where these companies can give them money or salaries that are higher than other professions, and I guess it's not fair, or it's unfair for them to be neglected by their government, because they are not well funded.
Okay, great. And that concludes the speaking portion of your test. You can breathe. It's okay. You did good. Excellent. Good job. That was hard. Do you know much about sports?
Not so, but I heard that they are not well funded by their
Okay.
government.
Yeah. That is very different in America. There's, especially right now during the pandemic, there is a lot of argument about if they play, should they get paid and stuff like that. So, yeah. Okay. So just a few notes. You are willing to speak at length on topics. You're willing to give more information than I've asked for, which is great. Not so much more that I have to stop you, but you keep talking. You have just a small hesitation, and I think that might be just because you feel nervous, rather than you're not able to find the right word. But even when you made some mistakes and you self-corrected, you kept going, which I think is really important as well. Just how you said, even if we lose a competition, we tried our best. So I think that's important advice for all of us. You use a lot of great beginnings nowadays. When I was young, generally speaking, I guess I liked that. And I liked how your voice changed. You used some intonation, I guess. So you're kind of unsure about your answer, but you're going to go ahead and answer. And you said, from what I have heard, and I would like to talk about, and I loved when you said, indeed. I haven't heard that word very often, but it means absolutely yes. And so I understand what you mean right away. I just would like to encourage you. So whereas Doreen was talking a little bit fast, I'm sorry if you can hear my bird in the background. He always does this whenever I talk. I think he doesn't like me. Anyway, so you had said, and I say it a lot too, or to fill that space while you're thinking of what to say. So if we just slow our speech down a little bit, then we can take a pause and we don't have to say, or anything like that. You use the word youngster, follow in their footsteps. The word camaraderie, wow, that was awesome. And you talked about dishes when you're cooking rather than just meals. And you said stuff about this competition at school would happen annually. So it was a yearly thing that you could expect to come around. And when you were talking about food, you said it was homemade and made with love. You cooked with love. And you guys could play with the flavor of things versus at a restaurant. You had to eat whatever they gave you. And then one thing on your lexical resource or vocabulary, when you were talking about eating things that are sweet, you said they boost your emotions, and then you said it lifted your emotions. So you used the word emotions twice. Something I could think of is talking about your mood. So, and if you don't want to use the word emotions twice, you could say mood instead. And then when we were talking about the competition that in part 2, I'm trying to think of other ways to use competition, another synonym. So you could say contest, something like that. Just trying to show that you know what competition means and a synonym for it. So we could look up some different synonyms for competition. And I liked how you talked about if the prizes were monetary, you just have really very small grammatical errors. Well, you leave off a or the, and very small things. When you were talking about your mom and dad, you said my mom will cook, but you were talking about in the past. So you could say my mom would cook when she was home on the weekends. Is that right? Because she worked. And then when you all became adults instead of just adult. And then you said, we are the one who are cooking. So just say we are the ones. So there's more than one of you. And you said our school will do competitions. So that's technically grammatically correct, but you could say our school will participate in or encourage us to do competitions. It's a great thing like that. And you had said athletes is not. So let's make sure if we're using athletes as the plural, are not. And can you say the word losing for me? Not
Losing.
Losing, good. At first it sounded like loosing, which means something is not tight. It doesn't fit, loose. So losing with a Z sound, losing.
Lose
And how about the word if you do something every month? Can you say month?
every month.
Month. Good. It sounded at the beginning when you were talking about nutrition month. Is that what you were talking about? They had a month dedicated to nutrition? Yeah. So let's say it again. Nutrition month.
Nutrition month.
Month. Very good. Excellent. Good. Okay. So yeah, those were just some really small grammatical errors. I think you were really nervous, but you did a really good job, and that was not an easy thing to talk about, a competition. So good job,
Thank you.
Kristine. You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome. Good job.
Thank
Okay.
you so much, Kristine. I hope you note some of the advice from Mandy. So our next candidate would be Gracelyn. Hello, Gracelyn.
Hi,
Come
Ma'am
on in.
Mandy. Hi, Sir Jeff.
Hey, Gracelyn. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. We'll get started right away. So, all right, Gracelyn, have you shared anything with others recently?
Recently, because of the current pandemic, usually at a distance from everyone because we have this strict policy to stay away from people. But I usually borrow or lend pen to my colleagues because I work as a nurse and we usually use pen to document and write things.
Good. Okay. All right. And what do you like to share?
I like to share my time and service rather than monetary. I don't usually trust my finances with other people. I seldom lend money to other to colleagues. So I would rather do favors for them and some other things that not that are not of value, like money, for example.
Great. Okay. And what kinds of things are not suitable for sharing?
As I've mentioned, I would discourage or I wouldn't be sharing my money or any financial issues with friends or colleagues because I live abroad and we have these cases wherein some people would usually borrow money and yeah, get off with it, and you are left with that trouble of paying for it.
Good. Okay. And then, did your parents teach you to share when you were a child?
When I was a child, my parents would usually ask me to share, especially those to the needy ones, those who doesn't have food, doesn't have clothing, and those who are unfortunate group or population. So I would heartily give what I have to them, but not to those which clearly observe who are extravagant with buying things like luxury, which I don't even apply to myself.
Okay. Okay. All right. And so we're going to move on to part 2, and I will give you a minute to take some notes. And once I'm done reading, you'll have the minute, and then I'll let you know when it's over. Describe an interesting historic place. You should say what it is, where it is located, what you can see there now, and explain why this place is interesting. And you can have a minute now. Okay. And then now, Gracelyn, you can have 2 minutes to share. You can begin.
I don't usually go to historical places, but there's one that really sticks to my mind whenever I think of historical places that trace back our roots. That would be Bagong Bayan. It was called before as Bagong Bayan, but it is now labeled as Luneta. It is on the heart of the city of Manila, and that place was where uh, Jose Rizal was shot. So he died there. So after many years, uh, his history made him our national hero. So in commemoration of his heroism, they built a monument on the center of Luneta. And now everyone goes to the place to celebrate what he did to liberate our country. So sometimes families and friends and tourists would go there to take pictures of that place. Then uh, right now, it has been an issue because some of the people and citizens of the country oppose to the idea that this place should be developed. Like they built buildings around the place. It's like a sore in the eyes. Like before, it's like a place that is solemn and commemorate the historical event that happened there. But some people were saying that these infrastructures destroyed the scene and the moment of that historical event. I would say that, in my opinion, however, um, these developments, although necessary, should be controlled and
Okay.
developed. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. You can take a breath. Okay.
I'm actually nervous.
That's okay. That's okay. We're going to move on to part 3, and you'll do great too. I know. Okay. Do you think an area can benefit from having an interesting historic place locally? So I'm going to read it one more time. Do you think an area can benefit from having an interesting historic place locally, and in what way?
Having these historical areas would invite tourism. So it would contribute to the economy of local governments, and it could invite people that wants to see the place to remember the moment and celebrate the historical event that happened there. Sometimes it validates that one thing or an event really happened because of this historical place.
Great. And what do you think will happen to historic places or buildings in the future, and why?
I would say that since we are moving forward, countries had been pushing for industrialization. These historical places would eventually be developed in uh, and eradicated. It would be converted into buildings and commerce, something that would bring in more money and finances to that place rather than keeping the historical sentiments of that place or area.
Perfect. Okay, good. All right. And are there other ways people can learn about history apart from at school, and how?
Other than education and incorporating these historical places in school, we could learn from the past events through museums and archives, reading through it through books and newspapers as well. Because there are times that uh, some newspapers would write down what had transpired from the past.
Great. Okay. And do you think history will still be a school subject in the future, and why?
having history in the future would be helpful. I think it is necessary to be included in the future because it would help people living in the now, that what had transpired before greatly affects the what had transpired in the past, I mean, greatly affects what we are now and what we have achieved now and where we are going in the future, if ever.
Great. And that concludes the speaking portion of your test.
I guess.
Okay. Are you good? Okay. You can breathe.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Gracelyn. That was excellent. Good job. So just like Kristine and Doreen before you are really willing to speak on topics. I would say at part 1, you didn't develop as much, but as you got going, you started talking a whole lot more about things. And I commend you on that. That's a great job. So just want to encourage you at that beginning, even though you feel really nervous, to try to say just a tiny bit, if you could add one extra sentence or one extra thought at the beginning, especially on those personal questions. So, and I love the beginnings, the discourse markers that you used. You said recently, usually, when I was a child, I don't usually go to, so in my opinion. And then something that you did that I really liked is I would ask you a question and you didn't just repeat back in the same sentence format to me, you would turn it around. So if I asked you about having a historical place, you would say having such historical areas, and you would change the format of the sentence. So that shows some really good understanding of what I asked you. In the very, very beginning, you confused me because you never did it ever again. You said about sharing a pen. Sharing pens is what I think you meant, more than one, but you didn't have any trouble with plurals any other time. So I think you just made one tiny mistake. And then, so some of the great vocabulary that I heard you use, which was too many to write down, were archives, museums, colleagues, seldom, infrastructure, discourage, needy people, less fortunate, heartily, validate, solemn, extravagant, industrialization, tracing back to our roots, commemorate, liberate, national hero, monument, eradicated, sentiments. I could keep going, but these are all great words that you used and you said them perfectly. There were 2 that I wanted to go over. Finances. Can you say finances?
Finance.
Yeah, so we can say, I don't like to share my finances with other people, or you can talk about something that is financial. And the other word is luxury. So if you could say luxury. I don't hear, I'm sorry, I think she's muted, but that's okay. So it's just luxury.
Luxury.
Perfect.
Sorry.
That's good. So the words would be like a luxury car, or she wears such luxurious clothes. So those are just some different ways of using luxury. And so 2 things, actually just 3 really quick. When you talked about when you loan someone money and they get off with it, so they steal it. So I saw you reaching for the right word. They rob you, or they're a thief, or they steal it from you. So just, but get off with it does convey what you're trying to say. So it's basically, they're not borrowing anymore when they don't return it. That's called stealing.
Yes.
Yeah. And you said something that sticks to my mind. So sticks in my mind is what you want to say. It sticks in my head or sticks in my mind, not to. So it's not literally stuck to you. And then you said something was sore on the eyes. So you can also use the word eyesore. You can call something an eyesore. I think you were talking in reference to them building up around a historical area, and now it has become an eyesore.
Yes.
That's a perfect use of that word. Yeah, so besides feeling really nervous, I mean, you gave me a lot of information. I would just work on just a little bit more flow, you know. saying things and like doing the opposite of what I'm doing, which is pausing so much.
Yes.
But yeah, you did a great job, Gracelyn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Miss
Gracelyn.
Mandy.
You're welcome.
Okay. Our next candidate would be Charlie. Come on in, Charlie.
Hello,
Hi.
Charley.
Hi, Mandy.
I love the way you spell your name.
And we have cameras. Sorry, Charlie.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I see
Okay,
it.
please turn it on. Sorry.
Yeah, she has a pink room. Yeah, okay, all right, I'll get started right away. So, Charlie, what do you do after work?
Oh, I have a lot of things to do after work. And, well, one of those is working out. Well, one of those exercise that I'm doing is yoga and meditation. That is for me to relax after an exhausted day. And in addition to that, sometimes I just relax and just watch some useful movies or some useful videos in YouTube.
Great, awesome. And do you prefer comfortable or good-looking shoes?
Oh, I prefer to have comfortable shoes in order for me to walk freely and comfortably. Um, well, of course, I want also to be comfortable by walking. So I need a shoes that is really fitted to my feet, and in order for me to walk without any pain, something like that.
Good. And do you need to spend a lot of money on shoes?
Oh yes, I'm a shoe lover, and every time I go shopping, well, I'm really attractive with those shoes, and I'm fan of buying rubber shoes because I love working out. That's why I have a lot of rubber shoes with me.
Okay. And do people own too many shoes?
I think it depends from one person to another because uh, there are people who just prefer to have some few shoes wherein they can just use it in their daily activities. Those there are other people also prefer to have plenty of shoes because they want to match those shoes with their um, clothes or dresses.
Good. Okay, awesome. All right, and now we're going to move to part two. So you can use something to write if you have it for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to read this and then you'll have a minute to take some notes. Describe an enjoyable day spent in the countryside. You should say when and where you went, who you went with, what you did there, and explain why you think it was enjoyable. And you have a minute now. Okay, and then, let's see, and now, Charlie, you can have 2 minutes to share. Begin now.
Okay. I would like to describe an enjoyable day I spent in the countryside, and that was last year. Well, I went to India to perform or to take my exam for the nursing qualification in US. That is NCLEX examination. Well, I went there alone and I don't have anyone to meet in there as for me to be accompanied. And on my first day, well, I have this feeling that I will not enjoy that place, because of course it's my first time to visit India. But prior to that, I'm imagining how India look like, because based on my based on this news or those information that I gathered from my friends, they told me that it's a messy place and it's not a good place to visit too. But I was surprised because there are lots of places to visit actually, and one of those is the Mahalipuram Temple. Well, it's a historical place where you can see a lot of temples with different sizes and different shapes, and I felt in love with those. With those temples, because it was my first time to see those kinds of objects. And one more thing that caught my attention is the people there. Well, they are so friendly, and they just keep on saying hi and hello, because maybe it's not first time, but they rarely see other uh, people from other nations. So I found them very friendly, and they offer some fruits as well, because I
Okay,
found out that
that's it.
India.
Good. You did it. Yeah. Jeff, all of these girls need more time. Good. Okay, so now we're going to move on to part 3. You can take a breath. Okay. Do you think it is better to live in the countryside or the city?
Well, I think for different exposure to environment, I think it's better to live in countryside in order for us to experience new things, to adapt with different environment, and to enjoy uh, different cultures with from different people. And it's helpful as well for us to develop some new things for ourselves, such as to have a other perspective in life, I suppose.
Yeah, okay. And what are some of the challenges facing towns and cities?
Would you mind to repeat that
Yeah,
question, please?
sure. What are some of the challenges facing towns and cities?
Oh, there are numerous factors that affects us, and one of those are traffic jams. Well, in the city, we experience those situations because, of course, cities are full of cars and vehicles, so we are really prone with those problems. And in addition to that, I think pollution, such as air pollution, well, because of those factories that are located in the cities, as well as those different infrastructures, I think. The environment is really prone to that type of pollution. So, of course, we people will be affected as well.
Great, okay. And what are the advantages of living in the countryside?
Well, there are a lot of beneficials. I mean, yeah, and there are a lot of beneficials to live in the countryside, and that is to experience new environment. Well, sometimes we are used to the environment that we are having for a long period of time, so that's why we are exhausted, and sometimes we feel bored. But if we transfer to another country or into the countryside, I think we will enjoy, and we have that peace of mind that that usual place couldn't offer us.
Great. And the last one, do you think that people should have permission to build houses in the countryside?
Oh yes, of course. As a newcomer into that countryside, of course, we need to have a permission from the authority in order to in order for us to build that house or building freely. And if we don't have that permission, of course, we'll have that doubts or uncertainties that there will be some issues that we'll be facing in the future. So in order to avoid those, we need to have that permission from the government, for example, or from that person who is authorized to do that thing.
Great. Okay, and that concludes the speaking portion of this test.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very
you, Mandy.
good. You're welcome. You did it. Good job, Charley. Okay, great. So let's talk about things that you did well. You have a lot of vocabulary as well, as the other ladies did. Also, yoga, meditation, relax freely and comfortably. You called yourself a shoe lover, which is a perfect description. Qualifications, and then you used terms like prior to that. So that's another good way of saying before. You said things caught your attention. There's numerous factors. One word I did want to talk about is the word different. And I was thinking to myself, what is a different way to say different? And that's very hard. So you were talking about, I believe, the people in India and how it was different. So you could talk about something that is dissimilar. So it's dis and similar, which means different. You could say things that are unlike or unalike, contrasting. So those are some different ways to say different.
Okay.
I don't know if I can use different anymore. So, and then you brought up situations and traffic jams. So in the very beginning on part 1 about we were talking about after work, what could you do, and comfortable versus good looking shoes, that just section right there, that's the warm up. So try to come on a little stronger and give me a little bit more information. I know you're really nervous at the beginning. You talked about yoga and meditation. So you told me what you usually do and sometimes what you do, and then comfortable and good looking shoes. So yeah, just try to just give a tiny bit more, like another thought or another sentence. And then when you move to part 2, I really enjoyed your story and I wanted to hear more. I wanted to just make sure that I heard you correctly. You said, I felt in love or I fell in love with those, the temples. Which one was it? Felt or
felt.
You felt in love? Okay. So a phrase that is commonly used is fell in love. Okay. So fell. So, and then let's pronounce really quickly the word rarely. So you said they rarely see people.
They rarely see people.
Yeah, they rarely see people. Yeah, rarely is a very hard word.
Yeah, it's like I'm hitting my tongue.
Yes, I cannot even say it. Rarely. So I have some students from China, Saudi Arabia, Korea, Japan. Nobody can say rarely. So it's not just you, but it's a hard word. And then you did do some self-correction, which was great. One thing that we wanted to look at is the word benefits versus beneficials. Mm-hmm. So you were talking about the countryside has benefits. So there are lots of benefits. Mm-hmm. Or living in the countryside can be beneficial. Yeah. So just make sure you're using the correct form of the word.
Mandy, which is better to use, the benefits, or when can I use the benefits and the word beneficial?
Sure. So let's think of a sentence. So do you think it's better to live in the countryside or the city? So I believe that was the question. And you could say, well, there are a lot of benefits to living in the country, or living in the country can be very beneficial. So you can change the sentence structure, but you want to make sure you use beneficial. Benefits is like a noun, like a thing. And then you also, so we were talking about, you use the word YouTubes, so just YouTube, since it's a proper name, no S at the end. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Yep, just YouTube. And then you said that you were attractive to the shoes, so you can say you're attracted.
Yeah, attracted.
Attracted to the shoes.
Attracted. to the
And
shoots.
yep. And then you said I don't have anyone to go with you, but you were talking about a trip in the past. So let's just make sure I didn't have anyone to go with you to India. And you said, I'm imagining how India looked like. So I imagined how, since it was in the past, or I was imagining how. So I imagined how, or I was imagining how India looked like. And you said live in countryside. So let's make sure we just use that article, the, live in the countryside. Yeah, those tiny articles, the, a, and an, are really easy to forget. And yeah, so you talked about pollution, and you talked about that we are really prone with these problems in the city. But then when you used prone to the next time, that showed me that you could say it correctly. So instead of saying I'm prone with, you want to say I'm prone to. So this city is really prone to traffic jams, or I'm really prone to eating chocolate when I don't feel good. You know, it's something that you're commonly doing. So prone to instead of prone with. But like I said, you corrected it the next time you used that word. And you used some more vocabulary. Experience new environments. Make sure you put the S at the end. Used exhausted, a peace of mind, being a newcomer, authority, authorized. Lots of good words in there. So good job. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Just like I think Kristine and Gracelyn just practice that flow, and yeah, I mean, I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Mandy.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You helped me a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, no problem.
So thank you so much, Charley. So
thank
this
you,
is
Jeff.
our last candidate. So you can see them again next week. Thanks for coming, guys. Thank you, Mandy. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Yeah,
Mandy.
thanks
Mandy,
for.
thank you so much for your time.
Sorry about my internet.
It's okay.
I'll be back in Florida next week. So yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Bye.
so much for
Take
your time,
care.
bye. Take
Mandy.
care, guys.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jeff.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Jeff.